I'm Andy Johnson, author of the book Academic Writing Process and Product. Today we are going to look at 7 of the most common grammar issues. Now, grammar is a study of the way our language works. It's a description of the structure of the language, and it need not be complicated. There's only 7 big ideas that you need to know to get you through most writing situations. But why do we focus on grammar in the first place? Because it creates precision in writing and speaking, and we must tell that to our students. It helps you transmit ideas precisely and accurately. That's why we focus on correct grammar. But you don't need to be a grammarian to write well. If grammar were all that important, our best-selling authors would be grammarians, but they are not. But you do need to know and understand a few simple basics, and it's not nearly as complicated as some people would have you think. You need to learn just a few basic grammar rules and develop an intuitive sound for the language. I call this a writer's ear. And something I use a lot that I recommend, it's text-to-speech software. The text plays your speech and reads it out loud, and most word programs have this function as part of it. Very useful for developing that writer's ear. So this video will give you 7 tips, but there's 3 general ways to check for grammar errors in your writing. Number 1, have other people read your writing, or read your writing and have other people listen. Use the gosh darn grammar check. Those little blue lines underneath words, they mean something. And as I've said before, use the text-to-speech function. Very valuable in helping you develop a writer's ear, and developing sentences allows you to hear sentences that just don't sound right. So let's take a look at the 7 most common grammar errors. First of all, you may not switch tense on a whim. If you use the past tense in the first part of a sentence or a paragraph, you must use it throughout. For example, after William hit the ball, he ran. He stumbles on the way to first base. All right, that's past tense at the beginning and present tense at the end. Not good. After William hit the ball, he ran. He stumbled on the way to first. Past tense, both times. William hits the ball and runs. He stumbles on the way to first base. Present tense, both times. The accident happened, past tense, because people drive too fast. Present tense, that's not right. The accident happened, past tense, because people were driving too fast. Past tense, yep. Accidents happen, present tense, because people drive too fast. Yep, yep, yep. And one more. Carlos is dirty because he was, past tense, out working with his dogs and his dogs keeps, present tense, knocking him down. Carlos is dirty because his dog keeps knocking him down when he is out working. Carlos is dirty because he was out working and his dog kept knocking him down. All right, stay consistent with plurality. Number 2, now with gender pronouns, this is changing. Plural is now acceptable to describe a person so that you can remain gender neutral. All right, but in general, if you use the singular part in the first part of a sentence, when not talking about people, you have to use it in the second part or throughout the paragraph. For example, this used to be incorrect, but it's now correct. A person, singular, should always have their, plural, textbook. That's now correct. However, a person should always have a notebook. That's a little more clear, isn't it? And people should always have their notebooks. That's a little bit more clear and precise. The class, singular, improved their, plural. Nope, nope, nope. The class improved its score. People in the class, plural, improved their scores. Yep. This used to be incorrect. A person, singular, should be allowed to remove their shoes. That's now correct, but it's still a little clumsy. People should be allowed to remove their shoes. A child should be allowed to remove his or her shoes. The second one is the best one. A child, singular, often worries about their first day of school. Correct, but clumsy. Children often worry about their first day of school. That's more precise and easier. A child often worries about the first day of school. All right, they're all correct. The last two are just a little bit more precise and flow a little bit more, but they're all correct. Double pronouns, this is a good one, should make sense when one is missing. This means if you read the sentence with just one of either of the pronouns, that sentence should make sense. Let me demonstrate. Me and her will go to the dance. That's incorrect. Me will go to the dance. Her will go to the dance. Nope, that's how you check. She and I will go to the dance. She will go to the dance. I will go to the dance. Yep, they both make sense. Try it again. Kelly and her discussed the plan. Kelly discussed the plan. Her discussed the plan. Nope, doesn't make sense. Kelly and she. Kelly discussed the plan. Yep, that makes sense. The prize went to he and I. The prize went to he. The prize went to I. Nope, that doesn't make sense. The prize went to him and me. The prize went to him. The prize went to me. Yes, yes, yes. Him and me went to the movie. Him went to the movie. Me. Nope. Him and I went to the movie. Him went to the movie. I went to the movie. Nope. He and I went to the movie. He went. I went. Yep, absolutely. Stay gender neutral, and we don't have to comment on this as much today. We're getting better here, but I still want to make sure that I hit this home. All right. Each person must make his own decision. Incorrect. Must make his or her own decision or their own decision. Each person must make their own decision. Yep, that is correct now. People must make their own decisions. I like that one best. That one seems to flow a little easier. Firemen work long and hard. Nope. Firefighters. Yep. Gender neutral. Lake is man-made. Nope. Lake is made by humans. Yep. Lake is human-made. Yep. All right. Avoid repetition within a sentence. By striving to use as few words as possible, you'll avoid most problems with repetition and redundancy. Always write as concisely as possible. Steve often comes to school tired, so we must try to get Steve to bed on time. You generally do not want to include the same word twice within a sentence. That's a general rule. It's not incorrect, but it is awfully clumsy. Steve often comes to school, period. We must try to get him to bed on time. Short sentences are much easier to read and consume. I recommend them. Steve often comes to school tired. Therefore, we must try to get him to bed on time. Again, I like the short sentences. They're easier to understand. All right, now this gets a little complicated, but it's not all that complicated. A restrictive clause is one in which the clause or the point is essential to the meaning of the sentence. We use that in these instances, all right? The class that used Andy's book produced excellent writers. Now, the sentence indicates that there was a class that used Andy's book. There was also a class, at least one other, that did not. It was the class that used Andy's book that produced the excellent writers. Thus, the clause here that use Andy's book is essential to the point of the sentence, as we are clearly identifying a particular class. That's an example of a restrictive clause. The class that used Andy's book, that is essential to the meaning of the sentence. A non-restrictive clause, it's kind of like a theatrical aside. You don't really need it there, but it adds dimension to the idea. The meaning would still be largely intact if we pull the clause out. We use which in these instances. The clause, which used Andy's book, by the way, produced excellent writers. The class produced excellent writers. It still makes sense. We use that for restrictive, which for non-restrictive clauses. The main idea here is that the class produced excellent writers. They just happen to have used Andy's book. It does not indicate that there was another class and that you're making a comparison. And the last idea, use that for restrictive clauses and who for non-restrictive clauses. All right? Those students that are done with their work may go. This first one indicates that only those students who finish their work are allowed to go. So that is important. It's a restrictive clause. Those students that are done with their work, that's the restrictive clause, may go outside. A non-restrictive clause, again, it's not that important. Those students may go out for recess. Those students, who by the way are done with their work, may go out to the recess, may go out to recess. We don't know if there's other students. But the first one is comparing it. The first one, this is essential to the meaning of the sentence. Those students that are done with their work may go out. Those students, who by the way are done with their work, may go to recess. I put these parentheses here because that's what I use to help me identify restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. If it doesn't need to be there, it's non-restrictive, we use commas to separate that, and we use the word who. All right, just some ideas for the 7 most common grammar issues. And if you know these 7 ideas will get you through, I would say, 98% of your writing situations in kindergarten through graduate school.